From across the dining room table, the wedding invitations tease me. Their cream-colored grace contrasts sharply with the turbulence in my chest. For hours I've been staring at them, pen hovering over the address list, fixed on one name that should be straightforward, but isn't.
Dad.
There is buzz on my phone. Mom, is it? Have you started addressing them yet? Sort of. Years ago, I thought I had broken a habit by not twisting a strand of hair around my finger. I fix my sight on Dad's name.
Ah.
Understanding in just one syllable causes my throat to constrict. Mom. I am unable of inviting her. I refuse. The words flow out in a hurry, as if I had been suppressing them for years. Maybe I have. Honey, your wedding is on point. Your day, she pauses to say, but you know what this implies. I did. Dad's missing chair during dinner comes flooding back in memories of last Christmas. Celeste's well-written account of his unexpected flu. The same sickness that magically vanished the day following my graduation party years ago. Every milestone that might have given us an opportunity to reconnect. The same handy illness that kept him from my art show opening, my first book signing. He won't show up without her. I follow the embossed envelope edges. But I cannot watch her perform the loving stepmother for another occasion. Not this time. The footfall of my fiancé, Orion, comes from the kitchen. He shows up carrying 2 cups of tea and sets one next to me silently. Like usually, his presence calms me. Remember what occurred during Juniper's wedding? Mom inquires softly. How could I let myself forget? Celeste, resplendent in white, upstaging the bride. The way she clung to Dad's arm, steering him away whenever I approached. Her theatrical tears during the father-daughter dance, lamenting how she'd never have that moment herself. That's exactly why I can't invite her. I take a sip of tea, letting the warmth spread through my chest. I won't let her make my wedding about her trauma of never having children again. Your father will be hurt. Dad's been hurting me for 15 years. The words taste bitter. Ever since he let her move into our house 2 months after you left. Remember when she threw out all my childhood photos because they cluttered the living room? I remember. Mom's voice hardens. I also remember her telling you that your art was just a hobby right before your college applications were due. Orion's hand finds my shoulder, squeezing gently.
He knows the story. He knows all of them.
I'm addressing the invitation to Dad only. I say finally, putting pen to paper. If he chooses not to come, that's his decision, not mine. Are you ready for the fallout?
No.
But I write anyway, my handwriting steady despite the trembling in my chest. Gideon Matthews. No, and guest. No Celeste. Just my father's name alone on the cream-colored envelope, like a challenge. I have to be. I seal the envelope before I can change my mind. It's time he chose, really chose, between us. After hanging up, I stack the addressed invitations neatly, leaving Dad's on top. Tomorrow, they'll all go to the post office. Tomorrow, I'll set this in motion. But tonight, I curl into Orion's arms on the couch, trying to ignore the notification light blinking on my phone. It's probably Celeste, asking about wedding plans she has no right to know about. Or maybe it's Dad, with another excuse for missing dinner last week. Either way, I'm done pretending. Done playing the dutiful daughter while she orchestrates my father's disappearing act. The invitation sits on the table, a white flag turned weapon. Let the war begin. 3 days after mailing the invitations, Dad's number lights up my phone during lunch break. My stomach drops, but I answer anyway, stepping away from my desk at the gallery. I just got your invitation. His voice sounds tired, older than I remember. There must have been a mistake. No mistake, Dad. I lean against the cool brick wall of the storage room, grateful for its solidity. The invitation is just for you. He says my name the way he used to when I was young and being difficult about bedtime. You know I can't come without Celeste. She's my wife. And I'm your daughter. The words scratch my throat, or at least I used to be. A long silence follows, filled with 15 years of missed dinners and empty chairs. I hear papers shuffling on his end, probably at his office, where he always seems to be when Celeste doesn't want him somewhere else. Is this about Christmas? He asks finally. Because we already explained. It's about Everything. I check my watch, 5 minutes until my next client meeting. It's about every time you've chosen her over me since I was 14. That's not fair. I've never. Last month, I cut in. I invited you to dinner.
Just you.
You said yes. Then suddenly, you had a work emergency. I did.
I saw you, Dad.
At Marcello's. With Celeste. The same night, the same time I'd asked you to meet me at Carlos. Another silence, heavier this time. I imagine him at his desk, pinching the bridge of his nose like he always does when confronted with an uncomfortable truth. She'd had a rough day, he says finally. She needed me. And I didn't. The gallery door chimes. Through the storage room window, I see Juniper arriving early for our meeting about her wedding photos. She catches my eye and mouths, "You okay?" I manage a weak nod. "Look, Dad." I sigh. "I'll talk to Celeste. Maybe we can work something out."
No.
The word comes out sharper than I intended. No more negotiations. No more compromises. The invitation is for you alone. It's your choice whether to come or not. You're putting me in an impossible position. Welcome to my world. I straighten up, squaring my shoulders. I have to go. I have a client waiting. Wait, please, just. He pauses, and I hear Celeste's voice in the background, asking who he's talking to. Can we discuss this over dinner? Sure, Dad. I manage to keep my voice steady. But just you. Friday at 7. Carlos. If Celeste shows up, I walk. I end the call before he can respond and join Juniper in the gallery. She takes one look at my face and pulls me into a hug. Your dad. I nod against her shoulder. He got the invitation. And now we wait to see if he remembers how to be a father instead of just a husband.
Juniper squeezes my hand.
For what it's worth, I think you're brave, standing up to them like this. I don't feel brave. I move to my desk, pulling out her wedding portfolio. I feel like that 14-year-old girl again, watching him choose someone else over and over. But this time, you're choosing yourself. She sits across from me, her expression serious. That counts for something. I open the portfolio but pause before starting our review. June, do you think he'll come to dinner? She considers for a moment. I think he'll want to, but Celeste won't let him. I finish.
Yeah.
That's what I think too. The gallery door chimes again and we turn to business. But my phone sits heavy in my pocket, waiting for a confirmation that probably won't come, just like every other time I've reached for my father across the chasm Celeste built between us. Friday's dinner reservation feels less like hope and more like proof. One more empty chair to add to my collection. Friday night at Carlos, I sit alone at a table for two, watching the minutes tick by on my phone. 7:15. 7:30. The waiter's pitying glances sting more than Dad's absence. My water glass is nearly empty when the restaurant door opens. For a moment, hope flutters in my chest. But it's Tamsin, Celeste's friend, walking in with her husband. She spots me and freezes, guilt flashing across her face before she quickly looks away. I'm gathering my things to leave when she approaches my table, wringing her hands. Ava, I think there's something you should know. I'm actually just. It's about your father. And tonight. She glances around nervously. Celeste was at book club yesterday, talking about how she'd made sure Gideon wouldn't come. The world tilts slightly. What do you mean, made sure? Tamsin lowers her voice. She said she'd hidden his phone while he was in the shower, then called his office, pretending to be his assistant. Something about an emergency client meeting tonight that couldn't wait. My fingers go numb around my purse strap. She what?
She was laughing about it, Tamsin says.
Saying she'd rather die than let him have dinner alone with you. That she'd worked too hard to. Tamsin stops abruptly, color draining from her face. I turn to see what she's looking at. Celeste stands in the doorway, her perfectly painted smile turning glacial as she takes in the scene. Tamsin, darling. Her voice carries across the restaurant. I didn't expect to see you here. Before either of us can respond, she glides over to our table. Your face. Makeup helps. I click through another email, pretending my hands aren't shaking. Though I'm sure Celeste told you it never happened. She said you were hysterical, that you knocked into her hand when she tried to calm you down. A laugh escapes me, sharp and bitter. And you believed her.
Of course you did.
I don't know what to believe anymore. He picks up a framed photo from my desk, me and Juniper at her wedding. Everyone's telling different stories. Have you ever considered asking yourself why your wife needed to sabotage a dinner with your daughter? Before he can answer, the gallery door chimes. Orion walks in, stops short when he sees Dad. His jaw tightens, but he keeps his voice neutral. Mr. Matthews. Interesting timing. Orion. Dad nods stiffly. I was just leaving. Orion sets down a takeout bag. Or just making excuses. I can never tell with you. This is between me and my daughter. Nothing's been between you and your daughter for 15 years. Orion moves to stand beside me, his presence steady and warm. That's the problem. Dad's face reddens. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. I stand, finally meeting his eyes. You know what today is? He blinks, confused. It's the anniversary of Mom's wedding to Aller. 8 years ago. You promised to come to the reception, remember? Just for an hour. Just to show we could all be civil. I had a migraine. That's what Celeste told everyone. But Tamsin saw you both at the country club that afternoon. Perfectly healthy. Because heaven forbid you attend your ex-wife's wedding and make your daughter happy. That's not. He stops, looking trapped. It was complicated. It's always complicated with you, Dad. Every game night. Every graduation. Every milestone. There's always some reason you can't show up. And they all lead back to her. She's my wife. And I'm your daughter. The words echo off the gallery walls. Or I was, before you let her erase me from your life. Silence falls, broken only by the soft hum of the gallery's track lighting. Dad sinks into a chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. I never meant to choose, he says quietly. But you did. I pick up the wedding photo he'd been looking at. You know who walked Juniper down the aisle that day? Aller. My stepfather. The man who showed up to every art show, every birthday, every moment that mattered. He chose to be there, even though he didn't have to. Please. I'm not finished. My voice stays steady, even as tears threaten. You have one last chance to choose, Dad. My wedding. Just you, being my father. For one day. He stands slowly, reaches for me, then lets his hand fall. I don't know if I can. I know. I turn away, back to my desk. That's the saddest part. He lingers by the door, like he wants to say more. But in the end, he leaves without another word, the door chiming softly behind him. Orion wraps his arms around me as I finally let the tears fall. You okay?
No.
I lean into him, watching through the window as Dad's car pulls away. But I will be. Sometimes letting go hurts, less than holding on. The takeout grows cold on my desk as we stand there, surrounded by abstract paintings that suddenly make perfect sense. Beautiful things born from chaos, whole pictures made of broken pieces. A week before the wedding, Mom calls with the news I've been dreading. Your father's selling the house. I nearly dropped my coffee mug. The house. My childhood home. Where my height marks still climb the kitchen door frame. Where my first paintings still hang in what used to be my bedroom. He can't. Celeste already listed it. Tamsin told me they're showing it tomorrow. My hands shake as I pull up the listing on my phone. There it is. The Victorian with the red door. The garden where Dad taught me to plant sunflowers. The bay window where I used to read for hours. The description calls it a blank canvas, ready for new memories.
AA.
Mom's voice softens. Are you there? I have to go. I end the call, grab my keys, and drive across town before I can think better of it. The for sale sign looks wrong in the front yard, like a headstone marking the death of something precious. I park across the street, watching a realtor lead a young couple through the front door. My door. A familiar car pulls up behind me. Juniper. Of course Mom called her. She slides into my passenger seat without a word, just hands me a tissue I didn't know I needed. I was going to tell you, she says quietly. I saw the listing this morning. Did you know they're gutting it? My voice cracks. The listing says, major renovation potential. They're erasing everything. Maybe you could buy it? I laugh bitterly. Celeste made sure that wasn't possible. The asking price is double what it's worth. Movement at the house catches my eye. Celeste emerges onto the porch, elegant in cream linen, playing the perfect hostess to the potential buyers. She spots my car and falters for just a moment before her smile returns, wider and sharper. She's doing this on purpose, I whisper. The timing, the price, it's punishment for the wedding invitation. Elle, don't. But I'm already out of the car, crossing the street with purpose. Celeste's smile freezes as I approach. Darling. Her voice carries across the lawn, warning wrapped in sugar. What a lovely surprise. The couple turns, curious. I recognize the woman's hopeful expression, the same one I wore at 14, believing this house could be a fresh start. I should warn you, I say to them, ignoring Celeste's attempt to interrupt. The foundation unstable. Has been for years. That's not. Celeste starts, but I press on. The basement floods every spring. The wiring in the east wing is original, dangerous, really. And the attic. I meet Celeste's gaze. Well, let's just say some things up there can't be renovated away. The couple exchanges worried glances. Celeste's perfectly manicured nails dig into her palms. Perhaps we should continue the tour inside, she suggests smoothly. But the damage is done. I can see it in their faces. The seed of doubt has been planted. Of course, I smile. Sweet as poison. Don't forget to check the kitchen door frame. The height marks there tell quite a story about family, about promises kept and broken. A. Her voice drops, all pretense gone.
Leave. Now.
Or what? You'll slap me again? There are witnesses this time. The couple backs away, murmuring excuses. The realtor follows, already on her phone, probably calling other clients to cancel tomorrow's showings. You spiteful little. I learned from the best. I turn to leave, then pause. Oh, and Celeste? The attic. I left something there years ago. A diary. Detailed everything you did. Every manipulation. Every lie. I wonder what Dad would think if someone found it during the renovation. Her face pales. We both know there's no diary, but the possibility will eat at her, make her question every creak and shadow in that old house. As I walk away, Juniper falls into step beside me. There's no diary, is there?
No.
I get back in my car, watching Celeste through the rearview mirror as she stands alone on the porch, her perfect world cracking around her. But she'll never be sure. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't what you do. It's what you make them think you might do. 2 days before my wedding, Dad shows up at my apartment unannounced. His hands tremble as he holds out a manila envelope. Celeste found this in the attic. My stomach drops. There was no diary. I'd made that up. But something in his expression tells me she found something worse. What is it? He pulls out a stack of letters, their edges worn soft with age. I recognize Mom's handwriting immediately. Letters she wrote me during our separation. Before the divorce. His voice cracks. Before Celeste. The implications hit me like a physical blow. She's threatening to show them to Mom, I say. It's not a question. He nods, sinking onto my couch. Unless you publicly apologize to her. Invite her to the wedding. Make things right. Make things right. The laugh that escapes me sounds foreign, almost hysterical. Like when she made things right by destroying every photo of Mom in the house. Or when she made things right by convincing you to miss my college graduation. Allah, please. Your mother. These letters could hurt her. Hurt Allah. So, you're here to protect Mom? I scoff. That's new. His face hardens. I'm trying to protect everyone.
No.
You're trying to protect yourself. I snatch the letters from his hands. What's really in these, Dad? What are you afraid of? Before he can stop me, I unfold the first one. Mom's familiar script fills the page. Gideon, I know about her. About the affair. I can't forgive the betrayal, but lying to AA. The room spins. You were seeing Celeste before the divorce? I. While you and Mom were just taking a break? While you told me everything would be okay? He reaches for the letters, but I back away, reading faster. Each page reveals another lie. Another betrayal. Mom had known everything. He had offered forgiveness for my sake, and he'd chosen Celeste anyway. How long? My voice sounds distant, hollow. How long were you seeing her before you left us? 6 months. He won't meet my eyes. She understood me. Understood how to manipulate you, you mean? I throw the letters onto the coffee table. Get out. If you just talk to Celeste.
Get out.
Each word feels like glass in my throat. And tell your wife she can do whatever she wants with those letters. I'm done protecting your lies. He stands slowly, age and guilt weighing heavy on his shoulders. You don't mean that. Think about your mother. Mom survived your betrayal once. She built something beautiful with Allah. These letters, I gesture at them dismissively. They're just proof she was right to leave you. And what about your wedding? You'd really want me to miss it? The question hangs between us. 15 years of missed moments condensed into one final choice. You've been missing from my life since the day you chose her. I open the door. The empty chair at my wedding will just make it official. After he leaves, I sink to the floor, letters scattered around me like fallen leaves. My phone buzzes. A text from Celeste. Your father told you our terms. You have 24 hours to decide. Another buzz. Family peace comes at a price, darling. Are you ready to pay it? I block her number. Then Dad's. With shaking hands, I gather the letters and reach for my phone again. Mom, can you come over? There's something you should know. Sometimes, the truth hurts more than lies. But at least it's honest pain. At least it's real. And maybe, just maybe, it's time everyone's truth came to light. The morning of my wedding dawns clear and bright. But I'm not at the venue. Instead, I'm standing in front of my childhood home, watching Tamsin hurry down the front walk, her face pale. I had to tell you, she says, glancing nervously over her shoulder. Celeste's been planning this for weeks. She told Gideon she found a lump, made him promise to take her to the hospital today. She's making him miss your wedding over a lie. My wedding dress hangs in a garment bag at the venue, where Mom and Juniper are probably wondering where I am. But this is my last chance to break Celeste's hold on my father. I stride up the familiar path, my keys still fitting the lock despite everything. Inside, Celeste stands at the foot of the stairs in a silk robe, her perfectly made-up face betraying no surprise at my arrival. Shouldn't you be getting ready for your big day? Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. Oh wait, there won't be a father-daughter dance now, will there? Drop the act. My voice is steady, calmer than I feel. Tamsin told me everything. There is no lump, is there? Tamsin should learn to keep her mouth shut. Celeste's facade cracks slightly, but it doesn't matter. Gideon's already left for the hospital. Such a devoted husband, don't you think?
Why?
The question bursts from me. Why go to such lengths to keep him away? Because you need to understand. She steps closer, her perfume cloying. He's mine now. Has been since before your mother knew. And I won't let you take him back. Take him back. I laugh, the sound echoing in the empty foyer. I don't want him back. I want him to see you. Really see you. He sees exactly what he needs to see. She reaches for her phone. Now, shouldn't you be leaving? I need to call Gideon, tell him the news from the doctor.
No.
I snatch the phone from her hand. You're going to tell him the truth. All of it. Or what? Her smile turns cruel. You'll show him those old letters? Break your mother's heart all over again? Face it, Allah, you've lost. Actually, a voice says from the doorway, she hasn't. We both turn. Dad stands there, still in his suit, car keys dangling from his hand. Behind him, Tamsin gives me a slight nod before slipping away. Gideon. Celeste's voice rises an octave. The hospital called them. He steps inside, looking older than I've ever seen him. They have no record of any appointment. Just like they had no record of my emergency client meeting last month. I was protecting you. You were controlling me. He moves to stand beside me. And I let you, he continues, because it was easier than admitting what I'd done. To Maris. To Allah. To myself. Celeste's composure shatters. Everything I did for us.
No.
I touch Dad's arm, feeling him tremble. You did it for yourself. And now you've lost everything. She lunges for her phone, but Dad catches her wrist. It's over, Celeste. I've already called a lawyer. The silence that follows feels like a thunderclap. Celeste sinks onto the stairs, her perfect mask finally crumbling completely. The wedding starts in 2 hours, I say quietly. Your choice, Dad. But this time, make it for the right reasons. I leave them there, among the ruins of their carefully constructed lies. Outside, the morning sun feels warmer somehow.
Cleaner.
My phone buzzes. A text from Juniper. Where are you? Everyone's waiting. I take one last look at the house before typing my reply. On my way. And tell Mom to save an extra seat, just in case. Sometimes, revenge isn't about destroying someone else's happiness. Sometimes, it's about finding your own and letting them watch from the outside. The wedding venue's garden glows in the late afternoon light as I make my final adjustments in the bridal suite. Mom fusses with my veil while Juniper touches up my makeup, neither mentioning the empty chair I'd insisted on keeping in the front row. A knock at the door makes us all freeze. Aller pokes his head in, his eyes suspiciously bright when he sees me. Ready, sweetheart?
Almost.
I smooth my dress, catching Mom's reflection in the mirror. Is everyone seated and waiting? He pauses. Including your father. The room goes still. Mom's hands stop adjusting my veil, but she doesn't pull away. Alone? I ask quietly. Alan nods. Celeste isn't here, and from what I hear, she won't be anywhere near him for quite a while. Relief, and something else, something lighter, floods through me. But when I turn to Mom, her face is unreadable. Are you okay with this? I ask her. With him being here? She smooths an invisible wrinkle from my dress. Honey, I made peace with your father's choices long ago. That's why I could build something beautiful with Alaric. She glances at her husband, love evident in her smile. Sometimes, the best revenge is living well. The ceremony music starts, soft and sweet through the garden. Juniper squeezes my hand before slipping out to take her place. Mom kisses my cheek and follows, leaving me alone with Alan. Last chance to change your mind about who walks you down the aisle, he says gently. I take his arm, the same arm that supported me through every major moment since I was 14. Not a chance. You earned this spot years ago. The garden path seems to glow as we walk, guests rising on either side. I see Stepmom dabbing her eyes. I see Mom beaming from her seat. And there, in the front row, Dad sits alone, looking smaller somehow without Celeste beside him. Our eyes meet briefly as I pass. He nods once, and I notice the envelope on his lap, cream-colored, matching my invitations. I recognize my own handwriting. For after the ceremony, the letter I'd written last night after everything. Not an olive branch exactly, but not a burning bridge either. Just truth, finally spoken, without anger or revenge clouding it. Orion's face, when he sees me, makes everything else fade away. This moment, this love, is bigger than old hurts and family drama. As we exchange vows, I feel the weight of the past lifting, replaced by something lighter, freer. At the reception, Dad approaches cautiously, letter in hand. I read it, he says simply. Good. I don't deserve forgiveness. No, I watch Alan twirl Mom on the dance floor. But maybe we deserve peace. Both of us. He follows my gaze to where Mom and Aller laugh together, their happiness untainted by the past. I'm filing for divorce, he says quietly. Not because of today, but because I finally see clearly. That's a start. Later, as Orion and I prepare to leave for our honeymoon, I catch one last glimpse of Dad. He's sitting alone at a table, watching the dancers with a thoughtful expression. The empty chair beside him doesn't look lonely anymore. It looks like possibility. Juniper catches my eye as we head for the exit. Happy ending, she asks. I think about the letter. About Dad's empty chair beside him. About Mom and Alaric's love that grew from broken pieces. Not an ending, I say. Just a better beginning. Sometimes, revenge isn't about making others hurt the way you hurt. Sometimes, it's about breaking free of the pain altogether. About choosing joy instead of bitterness. And sometimes, if you're lucky, others find their way out of the darkness, too. Following the light you've left behind.